Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody out there in the crypto universe, in the On the Chain universe? What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on.
Tell us.
XRP Breakout alert. Actually, it was Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, DOGE, XDC, SUI. Man, there were a whole bunch of them that were breaking out over the past week or so. People are fired up at XRP Breakout alert. You know what? Gensler is out in about a month and a half, right? So January 20th is coming up. The bulls have been unleashed. The big money is moving in. Get ready for that rocket to someplace, and we're going to dig in. We're going to workshop it. And by the way, Chip, check out this little badass Ash Yeti from the Badass Yetis White Tribe. We're giving him away today. Giving him away.
Beautiful.
And if we can get it fast enough, we might give away a second one.
This guy's awesome.
This guy is the coolest little guy ever. Look how cool he is. Look at that. One of the badass Yeti. Don't confuse him with the Fire Yeti. He is one of the badass Ash Yetis. Why? Because he's all ashy and dirty and he's been hanging out in the coal mine or something.
You can't throw fire. That's why. Only the Fire Yeti can throw fire.
That's right. But he lives down there. You can hang out over there. So we're going to be giving that guy away later today on this podcast. So stay tuned for that. Get your Zaman wallets ready. Yes. That's what we got to say.
All right, guys, ready to do it? Are we ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On.
And you guys, if you're in here, type in Yeti and then tell us where you're coming in from today. We want to see where is everybody coming in from today. Where are you coming in from? I don't know what that means.
Where are you coming in for?
I don't know what that means.
Where are you tuning in? Where are you coming from?
Thanks, Gary. Yes. Only person is not congratulated here. Badass Yeti competition win in the Discord.
What?
Wait, what did that say? The only person who has not been.
Did we miss it? You didn't get a Badass Yeti acknowledgement? Maybe we'll have to go back and revisit that and give you a shout out for that one.
Yes, Austria.
Win today, Innsbruck, Austria.
Winter Olympics one year, and
Mark gets around.
Fair call. Yeti Canada. There you go. That's
Thanks,
clever.
Gary. It's in sunny Florida.
There you go.
Yeti, Florida. I've been there.
We're not going to do two things. We're just going to combine the Yeti and the location at the same time.
That's
what we're doing.
Do it all in one. Man.
We have a crew here. They all have the same idea, right? They're like, we don't have time.
Check this out. There you go, Chip. The home of the future Prime Minister, Nigel.
Oh, that is absolutely right. Yes. Why doesn't it work when I want it to, Jeff? When I want it to work, it doesn't work.
There you go.
There we go. That's what I was expecting. That's what I was looking for. A little bit of man, it's like you can't get it to work when you want it to, then it works unexpectedly.
I love that. Man, so, Yeti Yorkshire, got the UK in here, Yeti Australia. Nice.
I love this, man. I love our Aussies in here, man. Love to see that. Austria's in the house today. Beautiful. Look at this, Jeff. This is great. Jungle Inc. was reminding us about the Brad Garlinghouse interview on 60 Minutes. Put him as the OG there. It says, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse set to appear on 60 Minutes this Sunday, which is tomorrow night at December 8th, which is great. So that's going to be awesome. Yeti PA, look at this. That's the new thing, Jeff.
That is.
It's going to be Yeti and then where you're from, right? That's kind of how you started off. And right, that's like that. We've got 13 in there already. You know, I like that.
Right.
So it's beautiful.
We got Crypto Eddie in the house.
Yeah, well, thank you for posting that video. You didn't even type Yeti in there.
No, I know.
Thank you for posting Yeti the video about the ad that's going to air during the broadcast of 60 Minutes, which is awesome, which I'll throw a shout out. Ready for that?
Only here. You've seen it here first.
You saw it here, but we didn't post it here first, but it was what are you on? But there's two promos that I'm going to put on here, but let's listen to the promos first, and then we'll kind of like get into some discussion around it. We'll see what Brad Garlinghouse had to say, some Stuart Alderati. We got a lot of things to unpack today, especially with the new SEC chair coming in. The SEC is still out of control. They're still out of their minds, out of control. But what are you going to do? That's just who they are. That's who they are. They cannot change who they are.
Well,
Cannot change spots. Let's listen to the first bit here. This is the first one, that 60-minute promo that they put out. Let's listen to this, and then we'll come back.
Apple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says the SEC's approach was the main reason his company and 2 others created the biggest industry super PAC called Fairshake.
People are like, why did these companies come together and organize and say, this matters? And it's a reaction to a war on crypto.
So if there had been a different SEC chair than Gary Gensler,
I'm not sure Fairshake would exist.
really?
Absolutely.
In response, an SEC spokesperson said any amount spent by the crypto industry on legal defense or influence peddling pales in comparison to the savings lost by crypto investors to frauds and failures.
That sounds like it was authored by Gary Gensler.
frauds and failures.
What about the $15 billion that was eroded by this lawsuit that the SEC dropped on Ripple? How about that? How about XRP holders that were eroded $15 billion? Market went, yeah, right. The SEC spokesperson, sorry.
Spokesperson, this is the SEC spokesperson.
Yeah, AKA Gary Gensler, right? I mean,
right.
we're supposed to buy this shit. I mean, come on. Please, come on.
Any amount spent by the crypto industry on legal defense goes
We were
to.
born at night, but not last night. I mean, come on, man. Really? Look at this one. Here's the second.
Like, let's not do that. That's a bad idea.
Yes, it is a bad idea.
It is a bad idea, Gary.
Brad Garlinghouse's cryptocurrency company and 2 others contributed $144 million to support pro-crypto Republicans and Democrats running for Congress. 85% won.
It's incredible.
So in your mind, is the message for any lawmaker looking to run for office that they have to take your industry seriously, fear your industry?
What kind of question is that? Like, the way it's phrased. So you're saying they have to take your industry seriously, or should they fear your industry?
Jeff, look who's
Obviously, it was going a little further, but what
Who's
kind of
giving
question?
Hmm.
Kind of question is that?
Garlinghouse is not. Look at him. Look at his face.
No.
And listen, you know, Garlinghouse is major MAGA. Okay, you know, we called it out.
We did call it.
He's MAGA all the way. He's staying silent. Now he's everything's great. Everything that Trump's doing is great. You know, it's like, now you can say it. You couldn't do the Trump dance in the end zone of American football game before the election, but you certainly see a lot of them. They have the NFL saying, "Oh, that's political," but kneeling during the national anthem, that wasn't political. They didn't have any problem with that, right? So this is why this woke stuff's going away. All the major colleges are getting rid of these DEI programs. A lot of the great businesses are getting rid of. It's a new era, right? So we're kind of like coming back to reality. We're not going to be dominated by the percenters anymore. They're going to continue to. And again, I have no problem with it. It's just, do you have to shove it down the 4/7?
They're all fringe. It's fringe. They should stay out on the fringe. Don't
keep it on the fringe.
Everybody. Keep it to yourself. Don't want to hear about it. If that's what you believe, hey, that's awesome. But don't try to subject everybody to your will. And then they're like, look, fascist, as they're trying to oppress you and force you to say things and believe things that are just completely asinine and anti-science.
Well,
real science.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, the science. Science is a constant question. Science is never settled. There's no such thing as the science called it and it's done. That's not how science works. Science is always evolving. There's always new information. There's always hypotheses. It's not like it's settled. Let's get out, right? But it is on certain topics, but not on others, Jeff. That's how it works.
Mark said, have you watched 60 Minutes since the Cuban Missile Crisis? Honestly, until this interview, I didn't even know the 60 Minutes was still a thing. I thought it was like, a JFK era TV show and it was done after the Cuban Missile Crisis. I actually never did think it was even something. Did you know that 60 Minutes was still a thing? I honestly thought it was like gone.
Yeah. You know why? Because it was always preempting like football games. Like I turned football on. That's how I knew it was on, because it was right on before the football game, like the Monday night game.
They just resurrected it recently.
A couple years ago. I don't even know if they still, because now you have to pretty much be on like Amazon or one of these other things to be able to see the game. But it's the whole thing. Now, 60 Minutes was great in the 70s, right? Because some dude would be going, like, getting out of his car, and a camera crew would run up and start assaulting him, asking him questions. It was like guerrilla, like, journalism. And they'd get him in so let's go on a serious interview. And they'd ask him like these really uncomfortable questions. That's when journalism was kind of like still kind of happening. And they'd ask him, but it's always had a left slant, but they never had anybody who was right on that program ever. So
they're always wrong.
You think that the crypto industry, I mean, these slanted questions, but let's play this ad right here. So then Crypto Eddie, thank you.
They still have around 12 million viewers. That hit.
Yeah, old people with money. So
I think we're closing in on about 12 viewers. 12,
yeah, maybe. So here's Gary Gensler ad that's running during the 60 Minutes broadcast. Thank you, Crypto Eddie, for posting this out. Here we go.
Chairman Gensler, we know you're watching. The SEC's Inspector General has been investigating former SEC Director of Corporation Finance, William Hinman, for more than 2 years. There have been FOIA requests, lawsuits, evidence referrals, and a documentary film investigating Hinman's potential conflicts of interest. The SEC said it would release its report. To date, it has not. America deserves the truth. Please do the right thing and release the Inspector General's report on William Hinman.
Well, there you go. What do you think about that?
What do you think about the report on Gensler?
Yeah, that'll be in the next administration. That's what we'll see coming up.
We're going to see a report on all of them, on this entire previous administration. Everybody's going to be held accountable. Full level, full scale accountability for everything that has happened over the past 4 years, including what's been happening within the overreach of the SEC and every other 3-letter agency. Man, I can't wait for Cash. Cash Patel's going to kick some ass. All of them. Look at they're coming after Hegseth. The craziest chess maneuver, which I love, that Trump has taken everything private in terms of his rollout, and the deep state has no way to get in. They don't know what's going on communication wise, but the chess pieces that are being moved around, the whole thing with Gates, as AG, and then all of a sudden, boom, here comes Pam Bondi, and you put Pam Bondi in, and no one has said a thing. I mean,
well, because
Pam
he had to
expose. One of the greatest,
Because he wanted to expose the rhinos. That's Republican in name only. These are fake, feckless Republicans that are really Democrats, but they go like, we're a Republican. We believe in Republican values and conservative values. And then they're the first one to. Now you had. Let's review. Let's do a little review here, and as we workshop this, we had Trump, who won the presidency. They retained the House, Republicans. The Republicans won the Senate, and they won the popular vote. That's what's called a steamroll mandate. And so why are these people in the Senate who work for the people, who are supposed to reflect conservative values, or are supposed to support the president, coming out in opposition? Unless they have something to hide. The rhinos are all nervous. You notice the people
very nervous
that aren't rhinos, the regular normal people that do the right thing, because these people are corrupt. When they're just worried about being exposed. Because I have a feeling that a lot of Congress would probably go away if they do what they're supposed to do. Probably a lot of it's going to go away. Do you want to see who the new intern is, Jeff, for the SEC?
Yeah, let's see.
There's the new intern right there.
I think he's going to do a great job, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Look, he's got his backpack and book and everything. He's eager and ready to learn, Jeff. So
everything. He's got his backpack and everything.
You got to give out not financial advice, crypto. He puts out some good memes. I got to say that. That's a good one.
Joe, why are you guys messing with my homie Gensler? If not for Gensler, I and many of you would never have bags packed like we do. Gensler made me rich. There you go. Yeah. Well, Gensler, this whole thing about, the lawsuit, I'm grateful for it. I mean, we came together, Chip and I, and really started streaming on a daily basis when the whole lawsuit started.
Well, yeah, for a long time, for months.
For a long time. Months and months and months. It tied us up, daily. Every day there was something brand new to talk about. It was awesome. I'm waiting for Biden to pardon himself. That's going to be the big one. That's how he's going to have to pardon Gensler also.
Well, he's going to have to basically pardon the Democrat Party. Basically, see when it's all done. Fauci wants to pardon. And funny thing is, I get you pardon your son, but not on the crimes he was actually up on the gun charge, felony charge. No, going back to 2014, the Burisma. Oh, be careful, don't say it. But I guess nothing happened because, well, I guess something did happen, right? It's almost admitting
It
guilt.
definitely happened.
Who he really pardoned was himself. But one of the things that people don't realize, and probably I don't think he didn't go through the proper channel to actually do that pardon. There's a special office that they're supposed to do. Well, one of the things you give up when you're pardoned is you cannot plead the fifth anymore. So if they go ahead and they bring Hunter in and they start asking him questions for no other reason, but you could, just put him on a stand. You got to be able to, you got to talk. You got to tell the truth. He can't be prosecuted, but you could at least put it on the record that the stuff happened, right? Even if he pardons himself, you could do that, right? And say, okay, well, we exposed it, and oh, you're pardoned. All right. So the rule of law, this is the people always calling about no one's above the law. No one's above the law. The ones that said that Biden was so fantastic because he wouldn't even pardon his old son. Jeff, you and I said when that happened, of course he's going to pardon his son.
Of course
like,
he's going.
Like who's even buying 1 minute, like one, word of this? I mean, who on this earth wouldn't think that a father would pardon his son who's guilty as hell of crimes? I mean, they're like, and by the way, the laptop is what exposed it all.
Yep.
So it's not like we don't know what happened. We know what happened, right? It's like this was never brought into a court of law.
I wonder what kind of digital asset holdings he had on that laptop. Wonder if he had some Bitcoin and some Ethereum. Wonder if they found that.
I don't know if he had anything on there because I think somebody, look, it was public knowledge. People would have probably rooted it out. I would imagine, right? I mean, it's a good possibility that would have happened.
Unless whoever was fixing was like, oh, hey, free asset. Look at that.
Yeah, so let's. I want to talk a little bit about
Jim D got his first bag of XRP the day it dropped down to 17 cents. Thank you, a la Gensler.
There you go. So there's a lot of praise and thanks for Gensler. Garlinghouse was talking about the 60 Minutes piece, talking about it is official. The interview I did with 60 Minutes about crypto fight for regulatory clarity in the U.S. will air live this Sunday, December 8th, and
real this time
here afterwards. So we'll play the link. I think it's on from 7 o'clock. I think it airs right before we go on.
Right before we go on.
Yeah,
so we'll be able to play clips.
For people that don't like, you can't see it or don't have the link or whatever, but you guys go watch it anyway. So
it'd be fun to watch it together and comment on it. And pause
so we also said no, that's not it. And this is the scammers back, right? So,
the scammers are back.
Scammer on everything, So the scammer's back. What are you going to do?
Get a tour of the whiteboard.
Did they get a tour of the whiteboard? No. So here's Garlinghouse again. He says because he was basically talking about the Fairshake on that segment we just watched. He said, sounds like the SEC intern, and we know who that is, who wrote the statements, heart just isn't in it. Don't worry, the people in the SEC purports to protect have made facts clear and highlighted the agency's hypocrisy. And he's talking about this right here. Regulators spent 4 years trying to shut down crypto. Winning at the ballot box, president, Congress, etc. The media wants to portray crypto's political efforts in a negative light. It's actually how democracy works. Well, it's actually how a constitutional republic works. But again, we're conflating that always. If you
let's not mince political words.
Well,
and be accurate when we're typing something.
If you guys want to know why the left is so worried about democracy, because they love democracy. Every dictator came out of a democracy. Okay. We're the only constitutional republic where the rules were written by the people that said the government can't do this stuff. Everything else talks about what the government can do. There are no limitations on what the government can do. There is no free speech. There is no right to bear arms. There is no, you can't just show up at someone's house and start, holding up soldiers in the house. Like there's all kinds of provisions, that the protections for the people. And it says, if you face what you think is an appropriate regulation, your only possible responses are the ones listed above. So there you go. And Jeff, I think it's important. We've played this before, but I think it's so important for people to understand, especially folks that aren't, outside the United States. But I want to play this, the old clip, but it just totally nails it all the time. Let me see. So here we go.
Pull it up.
Here we go. Canada wants a bill.
That's the problem. They want to get their guns, hand them over to the Ukraine. That's like Canadians don't need their guns.
Well, the other day we talked about where Trudeau wants to take. He also wants all the people that private citizens of Canada who own Airbnbs or Verbos, right? That are renting them out. He wants to take them over. He's like, these are all sitting out there. They should be. He doesn't want to house Canadian citizens in there. No, he wants to put people who came there not the right way. Let's put it that way. Illegals. Okay. Here, let me second. Let me put this over here. Make sure the sound is up. Okay, guys, let's watch this. This is a democracy versus Constitution Republic. Let's go.
Democracy is a form of government based upon the principle of majority rule, period. End of discussion. Now, that's not very complicated. Majority rule. It's easy to understand, easy to sell to the masses, and I might add, deadly. For example, what would you call a lynch mob? That's majority rule. There's only one dissenting vote, and he's at the end of the rope. Now, that's pure democracy in action. Now, but wait a minute, you say. The majority should rule, yes, but not to the extent of destroying the rights of the minority. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer describing a democracy. We are speaking of a republic. A republic is a limited democracy. It's a form of government based upon the principle of limited majority rule. Limited so that the minority, even a minority of one, can be protected against the whims and passions of the majority. And how do you protect the minority from the majority? You write down a set of rules on a piece of paper. You say, this we can do, that we cannot. At the top of the paper, you write the word Constitution. And then everyone agrees to follow the rules no matter what the temptation. And when you're finished, you've created a constitutional republic.
Imagine they taught that in school today. We wouldn't be facing a lot of the insanity that we've seen rolling out over the past years. And really, first thing, you get elected into a government office, you need to watch that. You need to learn. You need to understand what our form of government is actually about and limit the stupid things that come out of these elected officials' mouths. Many of them aren't really elected. They're just appointed and they run unopposed or they manipulate the vote, and the lead up to the vote by hyping up the one candidate, similar to what we saw within the Democrat party decided that Kamala Harris was their anointed one, and they ran someone that nobody even voted for. That's what that is not a true republic. That already takes that step, Chip, beyond the democracy. Right, they're already clear into fascism when they're appointing the people. You don't even get a chance to vote on who they're going to run, and they're just anointing and they're telling you who it is, just like they did with Clinton, Hillary, and just like they've done with others. They'll step on you, they'll destroy you, and it's a majority rule. Except what's interesting about it, it's actually a minority group that's stepping all over the majority, and that's what we've seen for the past 4 years with all the DEI nonsense and all the crap that they've been trying to cram down our throats because they have some semblance of control. But these are also beta people. They're not even true leaders that have been put into leadership position. And this is how they respond and how they act because they're not true leaders. So they have to lead through subjugation. And so when you see them leading through subjugation and they're going to force you into doing something, there's nobody's following them. No one's saying, hey, these are the guys that we want out in the front. We don't want these people to be our leaders because I'll follow them through fire. I'll walk through a volcano because of that, because of that person, because they're going to be out in the front. Instead, these guys are over there, stepping all over you and trying to take every last cent that you can make. And MAGA is a complete departure from this deep state mentality of, stepping all over the people. And it is a republic, which is for the people, by the people, not for the government, by the government. You can go to a different country for that. And if you believe that, get the hell out of the country. We don't want you here, and it's interesting because look at on a global stage, these leaders are coming and they're groveling right now at Trump's feet. They talked a big game up and these people are all coming to me. He's not even back in office yet. and the world is already starting to balance itself out, which is good. It's good for crypto. Look at your portfolio.
Jeff, please read
Tell
that.
me, tell me that your portfolio is doing better pre-election that it is post-election. And then if you believe, that it was better pre-election, hey, that's great. But I
No,
love this
that's,
part.
and then you'll also believe that you're still waiting for the Harris pivot on crypto.
Exactly. That's the stupidest thing that I'd ever heard, that there was going to be a pivot. And if anyone ever believed that, if you're ever listening to someone and they believe that and they're hyping that concept up, I would never trust anything they said ever again after that, because zero chance that there was going to be a pivot. We'd all be sitting in negative numbers right now. Our stock portfolios would be crashing further and lower than they were before. Our crypto portfolios would be lower than they ever were before, because they weren't embracing the greatness of this country and trying to figure out how to build. They wanted to recruit more criminals to come into this country to displace you. And that's what it was all about. They wanted pure open borders. They wanted chaos, because with chaos, they can control. Without chaos, you can't control. So you got to wake up to the reality of it. And you look at this. I love this whole thing that here was, and this happened, days ago. But Trump reportedly told Justin Trudeau that if his tariffs destroyed Canada and the country could not survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then Canada should become the United States 51st state, which Trudeau's serving as its governor. I love that, because Trudeau was complaining that, if they placed tariffs on Canada, it would harm Canada. Well, you know what? Canada's on our northern border, but they got to get themselves in check. The things that they're doing to their own citizens up in Canada doesn't fit within our narrative. It's no longer a free state up in Canada, and they got to get their shit together. There's only 30 million people. They've got less people than they have in California, and they've got a lot of landmass. So that landmass needs some development. You can't have such a big landmass and then live in these little tiny populated centers. When we're crowded down here, we need some breathing room. We need to spread out. You know what happens? All the Canadians come down here during the summer. So now we're crowded down here in the South, because they have nowhere to go in the winter time.
Well, that's fine.
They want to all come down here.
By the way, the population in Canada is 41 million, Jeff.
Oh, it's 41. Well, that's because they immigrated people.
I didn't realize I had a typo on that. Let me see that. That's what happens when you're typing stuff. Hang on a second. Let me make this right.
I would want it as a 51st state. There's a lot of, great people up there. There's a lot of conservatives up in Canada.
You know what happens? That's what happens, and you get that point, and then, you're out. And it's not going to end well for Justin Trudeau, unfortunately. And,
no, he's done. He's got to, that guy committed a lot of crimes against the people of Canada. That's how.
Larson's 10 million XRP. Now we're 24 million. 24 million flushed. Well, sorry. That's what happens. But, Ripple could have been playing both sides. Who knows what they were.
They definitely were. They definitely were. Brad Garlinghouse, from the beginning, we said was MAGA. I don't think Larson, if he came out and gave so much to the other party. But you know what? You didn't mention that Fairshake didn't actually support those who were actually active in taking on and trying to promote and support crypto for a number of years, namely John Deaton. I didn't see any money coming from Fairshake donated to the John Deaton campaign running against Elizabeth Warren.
Now, the reason that 60 Minutes is even doing this piece, you're like, why is 60 Minutes, leftist news, who's anti-crypto, who's in on the Democrat narrative? I'll tell you why. Fairshake was set up to help Democrats. It's a partisan organization where 90% of the money went to Democrats, but they'll say it's nonpartisan. Bullshit. It's nonpartisan. Arguably the number one, I would say, probably trying to best nicest way to say this, but the most anti-crypto person in Congress was Elizabeth Warren, who still is. John Deaton, with running his race, I mean, he got 40% of the vote. I mean, can you imagine another 50 million to 100 million dumped into that race? Would have won. Not enough people saw the messaging. Only probably a few people saw the debate, but he crushed her in the debates, exposed a lot of corruption going on there. And Fairshake didn't give him a penny. So here's this organization where Ripple's in $100 million, and you have Coinbase, you have Ripple, and I forgot who the other one is. It might have been Jesse Powell's company. I think they put some money in. Most of the crypto firms, maybe on Dreamlords, I don't know. I think there's who have a huge crypto investment there. But the two big players, Coinbase and Ripple. And guess what? They gave 90% of the money. And look, Jeff and I have done the best to expose this group. I've hit them up. I've asked them, how come when are you going to support John Deaton? Why won't you support John Deaton? I would ask John, if they anybody reach out from Fairshake? Nope, nobody. Nobody ever talked to him. Nobody ever gave him money. And John ran a phenomenal campaign. The fact that he did as well just shows you the caliber of who he was during those debates and the campaign. But let's face it, he didn't have the $40 million that she had. But if he had $50 to $100 million, I'm convinced that Deaton wins that all day long. No doubt.
Well, also if he embraced MAGA.
I think that too, right? I think I also think just saying you disagree with Trump, like, hey, I don't agree with Trump on everything either. I don't think Jeff does, but hey, look, I'm a Republican. I'm going to support whoever the nominee of my party is, right? That's all you had to say. And there's a lot of things that I don't agree with Trump on. That's it. But to say you're not going to vote, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, that was, and then expect people to. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake.
Deep blue,
stand by your conviction. Doesn't matter. You lose anyways. When you're running against people like that, you got to stand by your conviction, embrace it, see where the country and the tone is going. And the whole tone of the country was, we need to adjust, readjust, get back to that, right of center position, whatever it's going to take. And a lot of Democrats supported that concept. So you'd just have to come around and embrace at what's right. I like what Lottie here says. Benjamin Franklin said, we have a republic if we can keep it, and we can see that they're doing everything in their power to undo that, right? They just want to undo anything you might have learned in civics. And I like Michael Murray was saying, is it possible that the left could see the shift that blockchain is bringing and wanted to control it in a totalitarian manner, but Trump and Elon are giving the blockchain shift back to the people? And that's definitely a part of it. But the left also wanted to dismantle it because of that. There's little control they could have, but they could demoralize it, crush the innovation, make it impossible to build on the technology, do everything. Imagine if Bill Clinton would have done what we've seen this administration and this SEC do. Imagine Bill Clinton did the exact same thing during the .com era, right? He would have crushed the .com at that point in time. Where they did crush it was when him and Al Gore decided to gang up on Microsoft, and they filed that suit against Microsoft because of the browser issue. And that crashed that burst the bubble. If you guys remember that shift in like 2000, when the entire industry came crashing down. And granted, the industry, a lot of the companies were just built on, it was paper money. It wasn't, there was no foundation, but they filed that lawsuit and instantly the bubble burst, and that crashed the .com era. And then those that could succeed rose to the top. And I'm not convinced they weren't picking winners from losers at that time. They're controlling and manipulating, as they always do. Just like in 2008, they attempted to pick winners and losers. The government made decisions on which banks they would support, which they wouldn't. We saw, with Obama, decided that he was going to bail out General Motors instead of breaking up General Motors and allowing it to fragment. They decided they were going to bail them out, but then they were picking winners from losers even during that battle. And what did they decide to do? They decided to crush the Hummer division. And they decimated the Hummer division at that time and removed it. And they removed a couple others, but that was because they had a hard on for Hummer and big vehicles and what the representation of what it meant for the United States, right? So there were some power plays that were going on, but there was chaos at the time. But again, picking winners from losers, and we see that time and time and time again. But that's what they do. We got to get a departure from that. We got to start building based on what's going to be best for the people. And if you look at this, Chip, you kind of as a summation to this mentality and the feeling behind it. What do you think Elon Musk, is posting in this picture right here?
Steamrolling with the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and the DOGE mascot, and they're all in one. So that comment you just had up there by Michael Murray, I wanted to play this. We played this the other day, but I think it's important to sort of replay. But this plays exactly what Michael Murray's saying here.
The AI thing was very alarming. We had meetings this spring that were the most alarming meetings I've ever been in, where they were taking us through their plans, and it was
like what kind of? Can you talk about it?
Basically, just full government control, like this sort of thing. There will be a small number of large companies that will be completely regulated and controlled by the government. They told us. They just said, don't even start startups. Like, don't even bother. Like, there's just no way. There's no way that they can succeed. There's no way that we're going to permit that to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, they said this is already over. It's going to be 2 or 3 companies, and we're going to control them, and that's that. Like, this is already finished.
Oh my God! Yeah. Now, when you leave a meeting like that, what do?
You go endorse Donald Trump.
That's it right there. So, Michael Murray's spot on there when he talks about they never pivoted, right? Because they've always been anti-crypto. Because why? That's a general threat. Listen, people that want to be hopeful and stuff, you have to understand how the left works. The left is about centralized control always. What is blockchain about? It's about decentralization. Decentralization is your pathway to freedom, right? And it's also a threat to governments because it decentralized. If the first government that operates as a DAO, decentralized autonomous, let's say instead of an org, a country, right? A DAC, a DAC. The first one that does that, you're going to see that you don't need these people to represent you anymore because they don't. They represent their own interests. They represent the global interest. And this is a major threat. And I think that they're starting to catch on in some countries because they're starting to ask a little bit of questions. They're starting to see that this blockchain thing could be a little bit more of a harm than they think, because you're starting to see some of this stuff bubble up. But that's what they're really afraid of, Jeff. That's when it comes down to it. That's the real panic.
Right, to this point too, Joe Budd was saying, did the SEC think the Ripple lawsuit would go another way? Was it all just to stall the technology? What was Gensler's real goal in the end? And if Kamala won, where would crypto go? Full government control. But it was all about undermining, delaying, postponing, pushing it offshore, demoralizing development in this country. It all goes back to undermining the progress, development, and enrichment of this country. And it was also a transfer of wealth from those that are productive to those who aren't, right? If you think about who does the left, and unfortunately a lot of people in this country, but who do they typically prop up, right? They prop up this quote unquote Hollywood elite, right? I mean, these guys, their entire career is just reading and mimicking something on a piece of paper, to make a movie. Not saying, anybody could do it. Some people are more talented than others, but then they prop them up as though, they're better than God, right? They're putting them on a pedestal. But that's who the Democrats love. Right? If you look at Kamala Harris's entire campaign, she was, anytime she did a speech, she had to bring, some musician in and pretend like that person was having a concert, to get people. But they idolize and worship these people, and that's who they want to put front and center. They're not putting those that are trying to build, develop, and make this country a better place, and so it's a complete departure. So what was Gensler's real goal? I think his was more control. It was kind of an undermining. He was answering to whoever was pulling the strings to, again, just like, delay the inevitable and then try to crush the innovation in this country while it's all being pushed offshore. Now, it required what we have now, with Trump in office and limited government, and what we're going to see with the DOGE, with Musk and Ramaswamy, and what we're going to see with the FBI under Kash Patel, and what we're going to see, from the Attorney General's office. We're going to see across the board bringing the power back to the hands of the people, but also pushing for full innovation and development in this country. And Trump came out and said it directly, right? He said he wants to see it developed in this country. They want to see it controlled in this country. We don't want to see it over in China or anywhere else. Enough's enough already. It's back here to this country, innovation. I'm still surprised, Chip, to today that Ripple maintained their corporate office in San Francisco and were able to survive this whole time, and they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I mean, they had a huge nest egg to rely on because other companies didn't, like Library. Right, they imploded, and others imploded.
Legal representation. Jeff, this was the funniest article I read in the New York Times. This is, and it kind of just goes against that what you were just talking about who the so-called influencers. This was the New York Times. Republicans built an ecosystem of influencers. Some Democrats want one too. This is a headline in supposedly the most elite publication in the world by some stat. This is what they claim. And then, I mean, with a headline like that, then it says Democrats were badly outflanked online in the election, and on progressive influencers are now trying to create networks to be left-wing answer to Turning Point USA. Here's the problem with all that. Nobody wants it. You want to know why? Because the ratings dropped 60% on MSNBC, so much so that NBC is being hurt by it. The ratings dropped on NBC because people think it's the same thing. They're two different networks, but they think it's the same thing. So when you think about the influencers, let's review. The Democrats had the entire media, the mainstream media was behind them, lying and cheating and out there, running, state-run media campaigns. They had every Hollywood elite person in there, right? They had every celebrity, and so now, and what they don't realize is Joe Rogan, one of his podcasts, he averages 4 to 5 million viewers, does better than all of the media put together, right? CNNs, the Foxes of the world, MSNBC, all these little fringe networks, any given night destroys them. Why? Because the real conversations on a 2-3 minute bit, run a bunch of ads, and then come back and great. Just when you start getting into a conversation, those bits never last more than 2 to 3 minutes. Remember when Deaton would go on Fox Business? He just started getting good. He's like, "Oh, thanks for being here, John." Well, we just didn't even have a conversation. That's how they last. Sometimes they'll do a 6 to 8 minute segment. Those are pretty rare. When you go on Rogan, just two guys BSing. You feel like you're sitting at the bar, hanging out with two guys that are just shooting the shit, right? It's a real conversation, back and forth questions, a little bit of laughter. That's way more interesting to watch than some packaged up, we're going to give you the narrative, we're going to tell you how it explains, we're going to ask loaded questions. We're going to go into an interview and interview the Democrat nominee and say, "So tell me, what kind of ice cream do you really like?" "Well, I like vanilla." "Well, always vanilla?" "Yeah, sometimes I like chocolate too." "Oh, great." I mean, these are the kind of softball questions. And then, they get a Republican in there and they start hammering him. "Well, what do you think about this? And you support this? And what's going to happen?" All these crazy things. So people are remarkably intelligent. And when you contrast things and things don't ever pan out, it's kind of like these fudsters, these hypesters in the XRP community. Now, after 6 months of telling you that it's the global reserve currency that's going to happen tomorrow, next week, in 3 weeks, and it doesn't happen, at what point do you go I wonder if this person's really BSing me, or if this is the truth? And after 2 years of that, the crypto hulks of the world that are telling you, "Look what a secret document I just found. I just found this," and none of it ever comes true, ever. Nobody ever says, I wonder if it's me that's stupid here, that ever dawns on anybody. And the hypesters keep going with this. And I told you this, and I told you how it was going to work. And you told us, but we haven't seen any of it yet. So, unfortunately, we kind of just give our opinions here. Someone left a comment recently,
love it.
and and said "Hey, Chip, I don't agree with this." I'm like, "Well, I don't agree with everything on every podcast I listen to. You don't have to agree with us 24/7. And as a matter of fact, what I like is that we have dissenters come in here and they disagree with us. Now, that is just pure. You know what that is? That's trolling level. That's a 4.0 in trolling right there. Maybe a 4.1 on a grade level. You just don't get better trolling than this. I mean, I love Trump. In the history of the world, we will never have a guy. I mean, he's like Elon Musk in a way, because Elon Musk gives 0 Fs about anything and will basically post anything. Right, like the DOGE rolling in.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the greatest. I mean, it's obvious it's the AI, but look at this. This is just unbelievable.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Look at Jim D said, "Hollywood elite are little more than sociological prostitutes to sell a political agenda and form a hedonistic, controllable culture of slaves." That's
so well said. Jim D, when are you coming on the program? You have to come here and workshop some stuff. Jim D, we've been trying to get you on the program. Just say yes. You don't need to your face. Come on the program. Been trying to get Jim D on for 4 years now. He keeps saying no. Look at this, Jeff. Craig DeWitt, formerly of Twitter, formerly of Ripple. What am I saying? Ripple. He's now with a new company that makes AI buy-in bots, and it's called Skyfired. It's really cool. We'll have to get him back on here to talk about it. It's a very cool initiative. But he says, hey, Brad, what were you typing? Remember he was there furiously typing. And by the way, I used to shoot this kind of stuff and do it when I worked in television. You sit there and it's so uncomfortable for the person. Okay, look at your keyboard and pretend like you're typing something and the camera's right in your face. Okay, now walk down the hallway with the camera this 2 inches away from your face and act normal. It's so uncomfortable to do it. This is where I say that the people that can act would walk down there and you wouldn't know the camera's 2 feet away from their face, but that somebody can't do it. So the skill level is massive. Anybody that's ever tried to act or even played a part or whatever, it's not easy. It's not easy. So it's amazing skill, especially the talent we have worldwide that does that. So I don't want to belittle that, but that doesn't, because you can do that, doesn't make you better than somebody who gets up and goes drives a truck or works in a hospital. It doesn't make you better or smarter than them. But they always come off as like, ooh, I'm this person and I got $5 million for my last picture and I worked for 2 months.
Right.
It's crazy.
They get way too pompous.
Yeah. So then he says, confirmed, playing Diablo 4. Brad is now ranked number 1. Elon has fallen to number 2. I thought that was pretty.
Playing Diablo 4.
Playing Diablo.
I love Mark Smith. I love Canada ever since I hit a royal flush at Caesars Windsor and used it to buy XRP.
Mark Smith is the resident chuckle monster right there.
And by the way, we have this badass, look at this badass White Tribe Yeti over here. All right. So don't forget, we're giving this guy away. It's one of the Ash Yetis. So make sure you guys type in Yeti. There's a lot of new people that have come in. We're going to get ready to give this, do a giveaway here in a little bit. But you have to have your Zaman wallet ready. Zaman just did an upgrade, I think, to their wallet. But get your Zaman wallet ready, because that's how we're going to transfer it to you when you win. So get ready to win this badass Yeti.
17 entries right now, guys. So type in
Yeti.
Mayuka Vidari over there at Ripple. She's the senior software engineer, Ripple X Dev, interoperability, MIT, former. I don't think she meant to say this word. I think this is a typo. But today in shitty XRPL data viz, according to Sentiment Feed, Monday was the highest DEX volume we've ever had. Can you imagine that? Monday, look at that. Man. That is insane. That's this past Monday. That's crazy. Look at
it's insane.
It dwarfs the other high day back in 2018. So you can see the mass. Look, something's up, right? That was the big spike run up to 3 something right there. But look at that. That's just one day. Look at it. It's like it's kind of coming along, and then boom, baby.
Let's open right up to the other side of the cliff. Look at the other ones. Let's hope it stays a little bit higher on the volume.
So some details around that. The DEX volume tracks the exchange volume at the XRPL decentralized exchange. The volume includes all trades where at least one of the assets in the pair have recently traded against XRP. So that's kind of what they're looking for. And then she said, for those that you want more data, this green line are the trust lines. It represents the trust lines. This blue line right here, these are the accounts. And then the purple line down here are the number of transactions that happen. So that's just showing you other data. Now I don't know what the yellow line is. That's not listed. Oh, it's the active accounts. Yeah, the yellow line is the active accounts going up.
The number of accounts went up. Boom.
Yeah, look at that. So the number of active accounts
in November
were really, really low, and then it just shot right up there as the price started escalating, and it's still going. So
plus the escrow has gone down. Right, they're bringing the escrow costs down again.
Well, that's what they brought up a great point. I think it was I don't want to say the wrong thing, but one of the online somebody was saying that if the FIT 21 is passed, one of the provisions, you got to prove you're decentralized. So, and you can't hold more. The company can't hold more than a certain percentage, which what's in what Ripple's holding in the escrow. But again, it's in escrow. There's rules around how it comes out and all that. But as David Schwartz has gone on the record many times saying that they have to figure out a way to probably dump that at some point, right? They're not going to be able to hold on to all of it. So I'd say just give it to the people who are hurt in the SEC fight. That's all. Just give it to us. Give it to us, baby.
To the people. Distribute it to all the wallets. Baby. How great would that? Just do a massive airdrop. Boom.
Well, in the early days, they did that. In the early days, they were giving it away or trying to do some of that. But the good news is that there is, dude, the Howard Dean, baby. God, you have to really love that, Jeff. You really do.
This entry will RLUSD be a flip of the switch scenario?
It very well could be.
It's interesting. We're going to see a lot more utility on the XRPL, a lot more attention to the XRPL, a lot more streamlining of movement of funds within an XRPL scenario. And it also will facilitate interoperability and a lot easier on the interoperability, which will be very cool. Look at that. Boom. Scooby-Doo, a new YouTube member. Appreciate the support. It helps us keep the lights on over here. So we got the Badass Yeti's coffee. We are working on want to get the Badass Yeti NFTs into everybody's hands. So we're going to keep doing these giveaways. We got some game plan for that as well. So stuff will be happening. Got the Discord, getting that active. And so we got these cool Badass Yetis. Look, I love the Ash Yeti.
23.
Love this guy.
23 people are in the
23. Come on, we need some more. Get some more people thrown in the Yeti. If you already type Yeti, you can only type it once, but get some more Yeti in there. And
David Sachs, Jeff, let's do the announcement. David Sachs nominated as the incoming. He doesn't have to nominate because it's a new position, but incoming White House AI and crypto czar. It couldn't have been a better choice here. David Sachs, incredibly pro crypto, incredibly pro AI. I love this choice. I love the All In podcast. Just a great bunch of dialogue. I love the way they kind of like workshop stuff. He's also Craft Ventures, Glue AI, right? So this dude right here. I want to play a couple of videos so we can kind of hear him, his voice. Then I want to play his reaction to the Ripple SEC ruling. So let's listen to this.
You were in China and you had created your wealth in China or many, many other countries all over the world, and there were currency restrictions and controls, and the government was asserting more and more power, and we're putting business leaders under house arrest and seeking to put them under their thumb. You'd be trying to convert as much of your net worth into Bitcoin as possible so that if you ever had to flee the country, you wouldn't have to have dollars in your suitcase or gold bricks or diamonds. You'd simply have to have a password in your brain that you could access at any computer terminal when you got out of the country. That sort of digital gold is a phenomenal use case of Bitcoin. And the more oppressive all these countries become, the more they increase the value of that use case.
Love you, Sexy Poo. We love you, Sexy Poo. I love you, boys.
So that's David Sachs from the All In podcast right there. That was what he had to say, calling Bitcoin liquid gold. And this is him with his reaction to the Ripple or Judge Torres' decision on July 13th, 2023.
Not in real time. This is too complicated. The bottom line is that the headline is...
Well, I just want to make sure the audience gets it, yeah.
Look, the headline is, I'm reading the tweet, Ripple sales of XRP do not constitute offer of investment contracts, according to Judge. They won. This is a huge vindication for them. And the XRP is ripping 35%.
Yeah. And it really handcuffs the SEC. What are they going to do about Coinbase and every other exchange? I mean, if they're not selling securities, I think Coinbase and everybody else has always maintained they're selling tokens. This was the fulcrum argument for the SEC, and they just lost.
The whole crypto market is ripping right now.
It's an interesting one. The confounding part of this is that the initial sale to accredited investors and hedge funds was done that they violated securities law there when they were selling directly to sophisticated investors. Just looking at it logically, you would think it was the reverse. But this is a fascinating turn of events.
I just texted with Brad Garlinghouse, and he says, yes, it does mean that they won. And he feels
vindicated
and really happy about the...
How do you feel, JCal?
Well,
who are you? You like, I just texted Brad Garlinghouse. Like, these guys are players, man. You know what I mean? That's what I love about these guys.
I feel like I'm going to launch Jcoin and sell a token to back startups. I mean, if it's a free for all,
I won't tell you what he said.
He said FJCal.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've said from the beginning,
you were accusing these guys of security fraud for like the last several years.
Well, they've been convicted of securities fraud here, so it's a two-part judgment. Ripple violated federal securities law in its sale of cryptocurrency. The first line of the story. There's two judgments here. They violated federal securities law in its sale of cryptocurrency XRP directly to sophisticated investors, but the sales on public exchanges did not involve securities. So what they're saying is, if you sold XRP to hedge funds, that was a security when they did the first offering. But when the public started trading it on public exchanges, they did not have, according to the Howey test, this belief.
But that's where their vulnerability was, because if you sell to a professional hedge fund, they're accredited.
That should not be an issue. You should be able to sell to accredited.
So what's the problem? This is exoneration for them.
The judge says they lost
sound pretty happy, and the market seems to be indicating that this is. I mean, would you say the price is up 35%?
Well, I mean, the public
37% right now.
Crypto trades, I wouldn't necessarily put too much on it. I would look at the actual judgment here, but we all know people trade headlines, so let's see where it's at in 5 days.
So anyway, the bottom line is
headlines.
Fantastic choice for, I mean, by the way, Jeff, I know you know this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Do you know who the current AI czar is right now?
The new AI czar?
No,
the current AI czar?
The current one.
Someone that doesn't have any background in computer tech.
And who is that?
Is it? No,
it is.
She?
Kamala Harris. He is the current AI czar. That's correct.
Seriously?
Look it up. Yes.
Really? I thought she was the border czar. How does she handle so many roles?
She was the border czar. That didn't work out. AI czar apparently isn't working out either.
She handles so many roles. She's so perfect.
Especially when they pull you into a meeting and they talk about, don't even do startups. We're going to crush you like a grape. We're going to crush your heads.
Maxine Waters.
Crush you guys. I mean, it's ridiculous. Holy God. David.
No, I like this comment here. Cherish the moment. My opinion. Fed now with a stable coin, not Tether, will take control when they go global. The U.S. will never let XRP or Solana or XLM control the world banks. I think now with Trump there, I think we're also going to see a dismantling of the Federal Reserve and the world banks, which could push CBDCs to the wayside. I think, Trump, believes very passionately and strongly in the domination of the U.S. dollar. Sorry for any of our international audience, but that's a fact. And, and he wants to maintain it there, but I 100% agree. They're not going to allow a digital asset coming from a private company at this point to disrupt and try to take control. And that whole concept of using XRP as the base currency for the U.S. government doesn't make any sense. I mean, they wouldn't need it, and if anything, it's going to be a formation of a stable coin, which is why they tried to push a digital dollar, but yet you have a lot of on the MAGA side said, no, we're not going to do that either. Why? Because you can never guarantee privacy, and you can never guarantee security, and you can never guarantee an overreach of the government, mainly because of that, right? Because we can't have anybody where there could be, let's say this last administration, 10, 12, 15, 16 years from now, you get another crazy in and they want to try to take control, and they have the digital dollar already rolled out and it's programmable. So how can you guarantee no programmability? So then it's programmable. All of a sudden you don't have access to your money. And so they got to be very cautious over, something like that. But yeah, I don't, Chip, do you see any different? What's your thought on that?
On what difference of what?
Just any of this, like, stable coin, Fed now, Federal Reserve, world banks, and the fact that the U.S. would never let XRP, Solana, XLM, or any other control the flow of currency in the U.S.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I don't see it going down that way, but there's no need for it, whatever you want to call it, CBDC, digital dollar. There's no need for it because, especially with everything's digital now. It's like it's just a control mechanism, right? And the House has already said as long as it stays Republican, there's no way they'll do it. Tom Emmer and Warren Davidson have been very clear about that. And now with Trump coming in, he's like, no, we're not going to do that. Why would we do that? And so what he's doing with the BRICS countries too is they fell apart on their own. Number one, they fell on their face because China was trying to control it, right? They wanted to use their currency. That was it. That was pretty much. Yeah, it's kind of how it panned out from the jump. I wanted to just show this. There's a couple more things, but yeah, Brad Garlinghouse said, this is so funny, Jeff. Garlinghouse reposts the Trump war room. Interesting. MAGA all the way.
Yep. Another one.
Trump announces David Sachs will be the White House AI and crypto czar. Garlinghouse responds and says huge congrats to David Sachs on the appointment. He understands tech inside and out, and more importantly, will push forward President Trump's crypto and AI pro-innovation plans. Dream team. Now, if you don't think this guy's MAGA, I don't know. I mean, dream team. That's what we've been saying. Dream team from the jump, right? And then you had Stu Alderati saying another great pick by the Trump administration. David Sachs will bring the pro-business, pro-innovation, and pro-perspective we need. Excited to work with David and the industry to finally establish clear rules of the road for crypto in the U.S. The future starts now. There's so much excitement going on right now. It's like, pre-election, there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of buildup. We're still on the edges. I still don't think people realize how close we are to a war. The left wants a war. They want to be able to probably, put martial law and all this stuff. The only way you can get rid of the Constitution is you lose in a war, Jeff. You have a war and you surrender. You're like, we surrendered. Sorry. Okay, there goes the Constitution. Goodbye. That's how you get rid of it. You could have all the states get together. You could have an amendment. You could get rid of it that way. But chances are it's never happened in the 240 some years. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But I think this is just it's a great development. There's just so much winning. Trump said there would be so much winning we get sick of it. I'm not sick of it yet. I'm actually happy there's a lot of winning going on, but I'm pretty happy about it, to be honest. I mean, I wanted to get your reaction on this, Jeff. We didn't talk about this before, but I want to get your reaction on this, okay?
Yep.
I have to see what you think about this. First of all, let me play this one here. Yeah, I can't
go first. Can't get here soon enough. Man, we can't.
Come
on.
Remember Tom Petty said
November 5th.
The waiting with the hardest part. Remember you said that? So we got U.S. TikTok bans stay. ByteDance has until January 19th to sell it or say goodbye. TikTok's wild ride continues as a U.S. court upheld the law forcing ByteDance to sell TikTok to a non-Chinese company or kiss its 170 million U.S. users goodbye. ByteDance called the sale impossible thanks to China's strict rules, while TikTok tried First Amendment foul. But the judges weren't having any of it. David Schwartz weighed in. He said, I can't wait to see how this court pretends to square the government dictating who decides and enforces a media company's editorial policy with the First Amendment. And Systems of Control said, well, I'm pretty sure the First Amendment doesn't apply to China, but nice try.
Right.
And David Schwartz said this is about government imposing a substantial obstacle between Americans and the media product they wish to access. Your thoughts?
I think he's wrong. He gets a lot of this wrong. He's really smart and intelligent, but he analyzes these things a little bit off. He's right on that statement, just on its face. If we weren't looking at the facts, where the government trying to, if they're trying to impose an obstacle between Americans and media they want to access, it'd be true for X. It'd be true for Facebook. It'd be true for Instagram. It'd be true if they, try to block us from using WhatsApp or something like that. But when it comes to a Chinese government owned asset that is also used to disseminate and manipulate information to the audiences here in this country, and it's fully regulated and controlled by a foreign agency, a foreign government agency, then he's wrong, 100% wrong, because we know that, that once a company gets to a certain size in China, the government in China has control of it because they have a major seat at the board as a board member, and they dictate the direction these companies go in. We've seen it time and time again. And so it's very, critical that if we have such a large player in this country with that kind of audience, that we have to make sure that we're also able to protect the interests of people in this country. And if it's being held and dictated and dominated by a foreign agency, a foreign government player that is kind of opposed to our way of things, then we have to step in. They have to say, look, we can't allow this to operate in this country because of the fact that it's being dominated by the and regulated by the Chinese government. So the communist government. So that's a big part of it. So that's where I think he's off base. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'm right with you, of course. But there's a couple things here. So the foreign Agents Registration Act, what it does, first of all, individuals or entities acting on behalf of foreign governments, political parties, or organizations need to register with the DOJ and to provide full transparency. You got the Communications Act of 1934, which is where the FCC regulates broadcast licenses. So in a sense, it's another extension of that. Foreign sponsorship identification rule requires broadcasters to disclose when content is sponsored or funded by a foreign government or entity. We know this for a fact that this is China. There's the NDAA, which is the National Defense Authorization Act. They've included provisions to counter foreign disinformation campaigns, particularly those conducted by adversarial countries like China. There you go. The Global Engagement Center under the Department of State was established to counter propaganda and information. Countering Foreign Propaganda and Disinformation Act of 2016. Part of the NDAA, it was created the GEC to combat foreign propaganda aimed at influencing U.S. citizens. It also enhances cooperation between government agencies to identify where this is. There's also, this also applies to elections. There's a bunch of things, but there you go. I mean, those are the main provisions, which that's where he's misunderstanding. But on its face, yeah, he's right. But in the fact that it's used to manipulate and spread disinformation and just basically, I mean, if you look at the TikTok in China, it's educational. They don't allow the kind of crazy stuff we see TikTok here, and they're always pushing a very anti. It's more of a pro-left sort of a stance. Destabilization, breakdown of of societal norms, all this stuff to sort of break up and create friction between people. So there you go. That falls under that. And there, I mean, it's just these flat out.
That's a great point. And it's not just the misinformation idea, because you get the left, you get the right, everyone's talking about misinformation, but it's what they're doing through the platform, to your point, where they're trying to destabilize our republic. And they're also trying to push, this idea which is again against everything we stand for here, against our Constitution, but also trying to undermine our overall values while they're pushing socialist identity. And so, so that's how they're trying to, that's how they got in here, the Trojan horse that they're using to get inside this country, because for them to win, it's got to topple from the inside, and so they can take control of the country without firing a bullet. And that's because it can undermine and try to topple us from the inside. Again, that's why MAGA was so critical at this juncture, at this exact moment, and what Trump represents and what MAGA represents for the people. It's freedom of this country, it's the longevity of this country, and it's fighting back against all the socialist communist forces that are at play, and the big deep-rooted deep state that want to topple and dismantle our Constitution piece by piece by piece. And then people let it happen. So things will go on. They'll do things that are that are against the Constitution. They ended up getting settled out in the court at the end, even within this country, and you'll see it with the left. But the point is, they get away with it at that moment, just like, all the stuff we saw during the big C-19 issue. We saw what they did was against the Constitution. We saw the mail-in ballots against not just federal but state constitution, but they allowed that to happen. And we saw manipulation of outcome of votes, but they little by little, and then people let it happen. They're quiet. This time around, people are done. They're not quiet any longer. It is critical at this juncture. And so this is just one more piece of the puzzle as they get rid of the deep state. The deep state just isn't here in this country. It's everywhere. And it was a global phenomenon that wanted to take Trump down in that last election cycle in 2020. It wasn't just what was happening in this country, because of everything that's going to happen, right? You look at how far and how fast the Chinese grew after COVID. They grew their economy, and the control they had on a global scale excelled at a rapid pace. And they saw that as their moment. And then, they want to try to maintain that. And that idea is over, right? They got to be, because they're on a time crunch also, because their population they're going to have die out of their population. So they have a lot of internal struggle, even though they have a massive population, but it's an aged population because of some of the things they put in place before. So they're trying to, speed up their process. There's a lot of other powers that are going on at the same time, if we dug into it. But again, here, it's crazy to see the direction that we're making. All right, Chip? It's crazy because we have a badass. We need to type in Yeti. Ramen already. That's how it is. Look at that bad boy. Right,
we got 29 people in here. That's all. We got to get to 30. Come on, people. Let's go.
Let's get to 30. We got to get to 30. Then we're going to hit the drawing button. Make sure you guys have your Zaman wallet ready.
Time's running out.
We want to do the drawing. We want to give it away. And then you'll get your Zaman wallet ready. You'll post it in the chat when you win. And then we'll grab it. We have a few more things to talk about while that's happening. So are we at 30 yet? Have we hit 30? I see a lot of Yetis.
I see 29.
I don't know if there's
probably a lot of
delay.
We only have 29 in here, so this is what happens when you win.
Come on. I see some new entries in there. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Number 30. Do we have 30 yet? Yeti. The badass Yeti. We're going to give that bad boy away. And then we got a few more things to talk about.
We have 31. We have 31.
31. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. We're going to roll it. Get your Zaman wallet. Oh, Alex Yeet's got to put one in there. You got to type in Yeti. Not just yet.
Show the right screen this time. I'm going to show you.
I see some new Yetis coming in here. It says there's 143 people. Yeah, there's 143 on YouTube, and we've got over 400 through X. So there's quite a few people. But on the drawing, when we run the drawing, it's if you typed in Yeti, then you show up on our drawing. So now we're at 36. You can see it on the screen right now. Got 36 entries. You had to have typed in Yeti in order for it to register. So when we hit that draw button,
36 now. Let's go.
Boom.
36. You guys ready to spin this thing? Got to be present to win. You got to have your Zaman wallet. So the first thing,
got to be present to win. That's right.
Jeff here. Oh no, Electric John. The name like Electric John. I thought you'd have it. Don't worry, man. I could get there one day. Don't worry about it. That's why I grew it out, because I was like, hey, man, I have it. Let's just grow it. Why not? Wife's not happy. Let's put it that way. She's not so happy about it, but I always have it mostly pulled back. Here we go. We're gonna go
from the new OTC member.
Hey, we got 44. Come on, man. Are we getting to 50? Here's the thing. Whoever wins, we're gonna say
twice. I can't.
We're gonna say, let us know if you're here. Right. So you gotta go like here. And
here right away. Boom.
If you're here, so we know you're here. We're like, cool, we got you, and you're just searching for your wallet. You gotta have a Zaman wallet, because here's the other thing: if you go download Zaman and you have to fund it, but the good news is that's changed. It used to be 10 XRP, and I think what is it now? It's something like 1 or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, it's dropped considerably. You got to fund it too.
I feel like it didn't go yet.
Didn't go. Shit, man. Go ahead. Let's do it together, and you'll feel powerful.
As long as you can log into XRP.cafe, that's really the key, right? If you can get into the XRP.cafe,
you got to connect to it.
That's where it's at. So
get
ready? To the XRP.
We got 46. That's a lot, guys. Let's go run through it. You got to be here. You got to say here. Otherwise, we draw another one. Ready? Let's go. Who's going to win? Good luck to everybody. Let's go.
Let's go.
Man, look at it running through. My goodness, look at that.
You got to put it up on the screen.
Who's it going to land on? Who is it going to land on? Come on now. Crypto Eddie wins.
Crypto Eddie.
Badass Yeti.
Crypto Eddie wins the baddest Yeti. Now, Crypto Eddie has to be here with us.
She already has a couple. That's awesome. She gets that little cool ash, dude. That's very cool. Look at that. Well, congratulations. I hope you're still here.
That was awesome.
Go ahead. You got to say here. If you don't say here, we're
here.
Going on to the next
one.
Got
to be here while we do it. Oh, she's here. Crypto Eddie.
Oh, there you go.
And then what you need to do is throw your
wallet in there.
Zaman wallet address into the chat there, and then we get to transfer this bad boy over to you.
Out of 46 people, boom. There you go. Very good. Very nice.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There you go.
Can DM as well.
Congrats, lovely lady. There you go.
Go ahead and DM it over to us.
Legendaries, but is she here? See, I mean, like just you can DM your wallet. DM it to Jeff.
Yep.
DM it over to Jeff if you want, or
yeah, we'll get it. I got it all set up here, all set up and ready to go.
He's gonna let it go. So if you just DM Jeff, you can do that. Yeah, you can always DM it too. It's always an option.
That's always an option.
It is, but the thing is, we know who you are on. The thing is, anybody could just go spin up an account and say it's me, and I mean, it's a lot of work. But also too, I notice a lot of times who you are, your avatar here might not match who you are, and going to other places. So there's always that bit of it as well.
Yep. So congratulations to
Very
Crypto
cool.
Eddie, the big win. It's awesome.
Well, Jeff, I wanted to, since we're on a David Schwartz tear right here, I got another one for you.
Okay.
See, like most of the time, I think David Schwartz is just pushing buttons. I think sometimes he just throws up stuff, wants to see a bunch of dialogue on it. Like, I almost feel like, he's just kind of like gaslighting a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think he believes all that, but look at this one here. This is the Museum of Communism. It says, we're above McDonald's, across from Benetton. Viva la imperialism, right? So
across from Bennett.
This is the best. So he goes, definitely the best way to experience communism. And I said, I would have thought the best way to experience communism would be to live in a communist country. I mean, I'm just saying, right? I mean, like going to museums is something, but I mean, it's not like you're living under, move to a communist country and see what it really feels like to enjoy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Panos put this out. Learn the difference XRPL versus the XRP versus Ripple. And I wrote this, dear media, please educate yourselves so they understand, XRPL is a layer 1 blockchain. XRP is a native digital asset, and Ripple is a crypto solutions company, which is a private centralized organization. XRP is a decentralized digital asset. I love that he put this out because it seems like you wouldn't have to put this out. Like people should know, but it's good to educate people. You're like, oh, okay. If I'm the media, I'm not going to call XRP Ripple. If I'm an influencer, I'm not going to refer to when I'm meant to say XRP or XRPL, I'm not going to say Ripple, right? I guess something good you have to do. And then another video, one other thing we probably wanted to cover before we get out of here, but also let's see, there is anyway, before we get to that, I want to play the Kudrow on Doge. He was talking about what he thinks Doge.
The hottest ticket in Washington these days is an outfit called Doge, and if you haven't followed the story, that's the Department of Government Efficiency, run by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, and it's a non-governmental department, which is a wonderful thing. The two superstars running all day today on the Hill, briefing members of both parties, and President Trump is totally behind their effort. Most everybody seems to be in favor of the work of Doge, even though a lot of people don't really understand what Doge is trying to do. For example, many elected officials are saying how wonderful it is that we have a commission that will get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, reduce government costs, and cut the budget deficit. All right, that's true to some extent. But I think the real purpose of Doge is a vast undertaking to stop the unelected regulatory state that has been misgoverning America for far too long. As Steve Forbes put it, and Steve said this, 3 years ago, socialist-type central planning in the modern age operates through the hundreds of thousands of unelected bureaucrats who exercise their vast power over the economy through over 220 regulatory agencies. That's right, we looked it up, 220, the regulatory state. Now, in my frequent conversations with Vivek Ramaswamy, it seems like chopping down the regulatory state and reducing the overextended government power of the executive branch is a principal Doge goal. Now, I've served two presidents down through the years, but I had no idea there are over 220 of these agencies. And of course, American taxpayers don't need them all. And running a thumb down the multiple pages of lists of these agencies, it sure looks like many are duplicative or totally unnecessary.
Agreed. Did you know there were 223? Jeff, I didn't even know that. Holy cow. I'd say get rid of 223.
Oh.
I'd say get rid of them all because they're all crappy.
Every one of them.
I think every single one of them is absolute garbage, right? Let's see what else we have here.
Hitman, all those government workers are going to have to get off the couch after the 21st. No more working from home. A lot of people are complaining that they had to work from home, but they don't really work from home. I can't wait. Not only do they have to come back, but gone, right? But gone. Move everybody out of DC. If you want an agency, move it around the country. Let there be agencies in different parts of the country. You get rid of the power hold, the stranglehold. That's really critical. It's going to be really, really critical. I can't wait.
Can you make the confetti fall, Jeff?
What's that?
Look at this. Watch the confetti. Ready?
I can't do that.
There he goes.
I can't do any of that.
Confetti's going, my man. Here we go. This is Tom Emmer on.
Yeah.
Many of us are counting down to January 20th because it marks President Trump's triumphant return to the White House.
Yeah.
But I'm also counting down because it's the day that SEC Chairman Gary Gensler will finally meet the American people's demands and resign. Chairman Gensler's tenure at the SEC has been marred by regulatory hypocrisy, crippling American competitiveness. His approach to our capital markets was lawless, self-interested, and objectively destructive. He's been an incompetent cop on the beat, pushing American firms into the hands of the Chinese Communist Party, and will undoubtedly go down as the worst SEC chair in the history of this country. Under his leadership, the SEC abandoned its core mission to protect the opportunities of every American who wants to participate in the greatest capital markets in the world. He wasted a large part of the SEC's resources to wage war on the crypto industry, a strategy that has proven unsuccessful for him as the SEC continues to lose again and again in the courts. Corruption under Gary Gensler ran so deep that a federal judge took the unprecedented step of imposing sanctions on the SEC for misrepresenting key facts in the debt box case, ultimately costing taxpayers $2 million in legal fees. In 47 days, America will no longer be embarrassed by the mockery Chairman Gensler has made of the SEC. President Trump will fulfill his mandate for change. With our first pro-crypto commander-in-chief, the SEC will work for the American people again, not against them. A new day is coming, and I look forward to working with President Trump and his new SEC chair to deliver on our America First agenda for the digital asset community. With that, I turn it over to the Raging Cajun, our leader, Steve Scalise.
Raging Cajun.
Raging Cajun. Raging Cajun. How gratifying and fulfilling do you think that was for him to say that? I mean,
That was the best. That was by far the best. That was
Did
awesome.
you get the wallet, Jeff? Did you get the wallet?
Yeah,
address?
it's done. Yeah,
Look
it
at that.
has been moved. Crypto Eddie is the proud owner of Badass Yeti number 375.
Yeah, and if you want to
Badass Ash Yeti.
post about that, that'd be awesome too. If you want to post that little guy out there, if you want to just post a little dude,
he's really cool.
Post a little post. Look at this right here. Boom, we got that. Electric John. I'm reinvesting in Chipple. There you go. There you go. Fantastic. I don't know. It's kind of like Ripple, but has a better ring to it, Jeff. You see that? Chipple.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Thank you. Appreciate. To Gensler's credit, he did ultimately decide to step down for Trump. So he got a deal. There you go. It's true. It would have been some working to get rid of him. So there is some that is a good thing, because you would have either had to pass the SEC Stabilization Act, which gets rid of the chair position, or you'd have to, well, you really couldn't get rid of him. I don't think you can. You'd have to finish out his term. So that was a gift. But he knew, I mean, look, man. I mean, and there's a lot of chatter and talk about, oh no, he took one of the top attorneys in the SEC who sued Ripple and put him in the what position is that? The enforcement, director? Doesn't matter. When Paul Atkins gets confirmed, when Paul Atkins, a former commissioner, pro crypto, when he comes in, he puts his own people in there. He can say, hey, I want to reassign you over here, do this. But the fact is you have the majority. I'm trying to find Stu Alderati's tweet here. Is this it? He put out that wasn't it. Alderati had a good comment on that, and I got to find it. I don't know where it is. Here it is, right here.
You love Gary Alchemist. Alchemist loves Gary Gensler. Or legendary.
Man, that's not it either. Man, we had a lot of his posts today. What in the actual hell? Don't.
Charles just said you look like Richard Nixon. Did Nixon have long hair?
He did, man. Long hair. He was a long hair freak. Yeah, he was. Richard Nixon.
Nixon had long hair.
Pull up a picture of Nixon. Is that true, Jeff?
I don't think so.
Pull up a picture of Nixon. I got to see if it's true or not. My God. I did not know that. This is something that happened that I was not aware of. Weird.
I don't see the resemblance. I'm trying. Maybe there's a.
Put it up on screen. Let's see if there's a resemblance.
Hang on.
I'll do my best.
Trying to find a picture of my long hair.
A thief. I am not a criminal. What did he say? He said some weird shit like that. And like he won his second term by like nearly a landslide too. Like he was a popular president. But you know who took him out? Deep staters, man. They took him out. Damn.
Let's see.
Where's Alderadi's? I can't find Alderadi's thing here. He had a great post in that. I'll have to go to his. He was a reply, I believe.
No, I gotta share it. Hang on.
Pro pick.
Here you go, Chip. School class of 1930.
I don't know.
Any resemblance?
Why 1930? Let's go to the older one. Like if you put that picture on the screen, you said that's Dick Nixon, I'll be like, I don't know who that is. You didn't look like the dude who was older. I mean, like, you know, sometimes you can see like, oh, sometimes they can show a baby picture. You're like, of course that's that dude, right? You can tell, but not with that.
Let's see. He never had long hair, and he did not have blonde hair. How am I gonna?
What his thing was, man. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show before.
Here we go. When is this from?
So talking about Paul Atkins being the pick for the SEC chair, Brad Garlinghouse weighed in on it. He said this, an outstanding choice. Paul Atkins at the helm of the SEC will bring common sense back to the agency along with Hester Peirce, Mark Yoda. It's time to swiftly and definitely end the prohibition era on crypto, restoring freedom of choice, economic growth, and innovation. Stu said the triumvirate of Atkins, Peirce, and Ayuda at the SEC will not only bring common sense back to the agency, but also true investor protection. Right there. That's what it will be. And so that's the majority. They will be ruling. I don't care what they want to bring. The chair sets how it goes. And that's what they're going to do. What did you find over there? Did you find pictures there?
I'm stuck on. No, I'm trying to find a decent
right,
picture.
That's a.
What's that?
I never noticed I looked exactly like him. I don't look like that. Do I look like that, Jeff?
Identical.
Man.
I'm going through all sorts of images. I'm trying to find one that maybe would make sense.
Oh, I mean, the one in the top corner there. I don't know. Is that me?
This one right here. Is that you? Nope.
I don't know, man. I don't think so, man. But I don't know. You guys,
come on, Charles.
Yeah, right there. Triumvirate.
Oh,
right there. That's okay. Dude.
Charles didn't expect that we were going to go down the rabbit hole. So don't send us down a rabbit hole. We're going to go chasing squirrels.
That's how you track this whole podcast. Right. We have a whole agenda set. And somebody says one thing, we'll be off for 20 minutes, man. That's how
he meant the peace confetti thing. When you do the peace confetti thing, that's what it was.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Oh, that's what that's what it was.
That's
now
what
we get it. Okay, we get it now.
I'm not a crook. Gotcha. Okay, we got it. There you go. I'm not a crook. Oh yeah. Yeah, there it is. Come on, do the double peace sign. There it is right there. That's what it was.
There you go. You look like the guitarist from.
No, dude, that guy had a boofity doofity thing going on there. It was not long. It was just a boofer. What do you mean? You're talking about from the 80s, not from now. I think the guy looks like Jeff today, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll see what happens, man.
That's funny. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here with us. But that's going to be right after the 60 minutes. So Chip, if he's on at 7 tomorrow, if it's 7 p.m., we're streaming at 8 p.m. Everyone's going to come in here having already watched it. We're going to be able to workshop it. We're going to be able to cut it up. Hopefully we'll be able to get some access to it and we can talk about it and it'll be fun to workshop exactly. Because we already saw like some, cutout from it and you can already see how aggressive the reporter is. They're so bitter. They're so bitter that they're losing their narrative, and now they're attacking him because they know he's MAGA and, he's building something, important here in this country. So,
yeah.
Right? Yes. Oh, here we go.
Latin.
Triumph.
That was the one.
Triumvirate.
Yeah, triumvirate.
a triarchy, political institution ruled or dominated by three individuals known as triumvirs.
Sounds like Trumpers. Triumvirs. That's amazing. Like that's a word that I did not know, but that was Atkins, Peirce, and Ayuda. That was what he was calling the triumvirate. Interesting. Sounds awful like a Trump, or Trumpers or triumphers or whatever,
A live stream while it's on. That could be
because we
interesting.
put a lot of other garbage in there. It's all leftist narrative. Like going to tell you about like how the ice caps are melting and they're not, how it's getting hotter and it's getting colder. I mean, forget it.
If we live stream while it's on, then we could do some live commentary.
I don't think we can actually stream that bit because
probably not.
I think we can use fair use and play it just a bit.
Even the fair use, they're going after us.
Stream it, unfortunately.
Roman times vernacular, triumvirate.
Triumvirates. That's the. We're probably even pronouncing it correctly too.
Probably not. Crypto Navigator. I'm going to be rich and single. Such an exciting thing.
If you say so. Rich and married. That's exciting too.
Just a heads up. When clicking Supermojo link, this comes up. This service has been suspended by its owner. Looks like a broken hyperlink. The Supermojo doesn't work. We're also trying to get
it's broken because I think that's no longer around. So
we're trying to get them all back. Actually,
we're working with Craig DeWitt to get them back. So we're gonna get them back and we're gonna give them away. There you go.
We're gonna give them away. It'll be fun. Yes. There you go. Said you don't have to show it. Just have it on the background. Everyone could be watching it, and we can play commentary.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll play the clip, and we can still play commentary. How's that? We'll have the clip to play, and we'll do it that way. But gosh, we went an hour and 31 today. Great. We had a lot of good stuff. Thank you for everybody coming in here. Had a good crew, good group in. Great to see. We're up hit 650 people. We had as many as 148 on YouTube, and then the rest that we're on came from X. And what I'm hoping Elon does is he formalizes a real video platform by setting up a page which has which will archive all of our videos on there, a little better playing feature. I think that'll be fantastic. Chad, appreciate that. Top marks, guys. You guys get it too, because you guys make this show happen. Without you guys, it's Jeff and I goofing around like when we talk all the time, like we'll do as soon as we go off air. That's what it sounds like. It's still the show, but it's no involvement. So
a watch party, a 60 minutes Brad Garland House watch party.
I just don't think we can stream it. I think
we can't stream it.
You can't stream it live.
We could probably have it playing in the background, but not on here. We'd have to figure out how we do it
because it's television, it's governed by a license and all that. We can play that.
We don't have one of those.
So yeah,
hey, CKJ, what is going on?
Hey, listen, CKJ, we're going on your show Monday. Is that still going on?
What day is it?
So yeah, I DM'd you, man. Monday night is the best night for us. 8:00. If you can do 8:00, let's do that. But we're gonna go on CKJ, and then we're gonna get him over here. We're gonna do it, man. We're gonna have we're gonna officially do it, but definitely. And CKJ, I gave you my my phone number. So Monday night, 8 p.m. Let us know ahead of time. Like send us the what do we need, Jeff? What do we need for that?
Oh, look at this. We need a login.
We need the link or where we're gonna go, where we're gonna log in for all that. So we just need that bit of it.
XRP's our attorney. And so from a fair use perspective, when commenting, it has to be 1/20th the size of your screen. So we have to make sure that it's 1/20th.
Play right there in the quarter.
Right. Just a little tiny. We'd have to measure out the screen. What if it's like 1/21st or 1/25th of the screen? Or what if it's like too big or too small? What happens?
All night full screen.
Live stream Chip eating popcorn watching 60 minutes.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun of eating popcorn. Jeff, really good part, right? That'll be like really good. It'll be like, Jeff, this is a really cool part right here. Well, let's go. Jeff, I'm typing evil stuff in the 60 Minutes site right now.
Right.
We can do all of that, right? Yeah. Yeah, we'll have it here tomorrow night. That's what we'll do. It'll be Monday morning for you, Eddie, but we'll be definitely
yeah. And we'll be giving away another badass Yeti.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give away 2. Maybe we'll do 1 and 1. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
We got to get some more though. We got to get
definitely
those.
be giving away 1.
Yeah,
we're running out of blues to give away, so got some of the white tribe.
XRP Plumbing, thank you for that super sticker. We can't see it, but thank you very much. I wish they'd play the super stickers on here. That'd be really cool.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Got long hair. You're looking good, my brother. Yeah, I grew it out, man. I just grew it out and let it go. Let it go, man. Grew it.
Mm-hmm. And then here you go. We need to do a live show from London in 2025.
You know what?
Or we'll do a live show from Australia.
Australia in 2025, May. I have this weird feeling, but yeah, that's what we'll be doing. That'll be fantastic. That'll be awesome, right? We'll do that.
That would be kick-ass when we're not, doing our thing, that we can make sure we bring some of the podcast stuff. We can set up and we can pull people in. We'll do a live stream, pull people in and interview them while we're there. That could be a lot of fun. We're kind of running around. It was very occupied. We were very busy last time. But
sounds like I'm going to be working while people will be drinking.
Oh no, Singapore. What?
Singapore would be even better. Let's do a world tour, man. We'll do everywhere.
Singapore? Or are you saying stream in Singapore?
Or
is it going to be in Singapore now?
Going everywhere they have
crypto
regulations is where we're going. Singapore is one of those places right there. Yeah.
We're gonna do the
Sydney, man. It'll be Brisbane or Gold Coast. Gold Coast more like. What is that little figure there?
I can't see.
A little dude. I don't know. I can't even see what that is. My gosh, it's so tiny. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means.
XRP will be like $100 at that time, and everyone will come.
247. Is that what it is?
Is that what it's at?
Let's just break 3. Remember we were crying about just when it breaks $1. Now we're like, come on, get over $3.
$3. It's got to go over 3. You know what's crushing it right now is Sui. Why is Sui crushing it?
Oh, it's a detective, right? There you go. Thank you.
Detective.
Great.
Why is Sui crushing it? 435.
Sui's going to be another Solana. It's not advice. I'm just telling you, man. It's heading towards $100.
It's crazy.
It's heading towards 100
right now.
102, 1 or 200 for sure, man.
That's a nice number right there. Look at that. Boom.
You know what a nicer number is? $100.
Higher.
You know what a nicer number is? $200. You know what's a nicer number?
More than 435.
589. That's what it is right there. Right.
The best tech. There you go.
Yeah, tech is where it's at. No, the Sui has some amazing tech, man. Amazing tech.
Hands down.
Hands
down, the best tech. Sui. You got to do some sleuthing and detective work. This whole thing was actually written backwards. So when you come in and you actually read through it, if you did detective, Sui, best tech, hands down, but it's hands down the best tech. What is Sui? You got to do some sleuthing and detective work.
Yeah, you're writing it backwards. You didn't even know.
I didn't even know it.
It's insane, right?
Is it really based out of Singapore?
Yeah, so guys, we will be going. So go ahead and subscribe to CKJ. I don't know if he's still in here. Let's put his channel up here, but we're going to go on there Monday night.
Monday night, CJ, 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. 8 p.m.
Yeah, so 8 p.m. Monday night, but go tune in, CKJ Crypto News, look it up, look for that symbol right there. You can I think you can click on him in the chat there and you can just go ahead and subscribe. We will see you guys on Monday night. We'll stream on Wednesday night. Yeah, Monday night. It's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be awesome.
Monday.
It's going to be great. And you guys, I'll tell you the story about how I got into doing this, and it was all because of CKJ. That's why. Otherwise, I'd be here on the screen like an old dude. You son of a bitch. Still screaming, I'm just right. Shut up, Kind of like when I watch an NFL football game. My wife's always like, "Why are you screaming?" I'm like, "I don't know. This is why I don't go to the games. I get too emotional. It gets too crazy. It's too crazy for me, Jeff. I'm just telling you."
That's right. It is
XDC also up. Yeah, they got a little bag of that one too.
Let me see. Let's see where XDC is at.
Yeah,
Let's do this live. Let's do a live search, so you can't say
we're been waiting for you. It's been that long. I think it has been.
It is running. It was 7 cents. Look
at that, man. It's popping, dude.
Years. CKG has been waiting in line, Chip. That's what our schedule's been like. It's been
We've been waiting
over there.
Get you on this show, my man. That's how it works. I mean, we've been trying to get you. Well, that's what we have to do next. We'll have to do that next. After that, like let a week go by. CKJ is the bomb right there. Bomb.
Jim D, the big news. There you go.
See, like there you go. Also, Crypto Eddie says her too. CKJ and Cobb. The good news is like I think somebody has Cobb on house arrest, so he's not going to stream.
He can't.
warned.
No streaming, no posting, no nothing. What's up, Dash?
Cobb had was he put that one up. He goes, all it took was no streaming, I guess. And I was like, yeah, that's all it took. Pretty much. That was the switch. Who knew Cobb was the switch? Nobody knew.
Nobody knew, but now we know.
Turns out,
Jim D, any scheduled big XRP news events on X this weekend? We'll be on CKJ show on Monday.
There you
That's
go.
the big news.
We'll be live tomorrow night. We're going to be
night.
workshopping and talking tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We're going to talk about the Brad Garlinghouse appearance on 60 Minutes. And I hope it's a decent one. I hope it's like a 2-minute segment. And I hope they focus on more than just the Fairshake, because it wasn't a Fairshake. It was a
bad shake.
Partisan shake. So
It was a
anyway,
very bad shake. This is one of those limp wristed shakes. You
It was
know,
like
you
a-
go to shake someone's hand and it's kind of
Yeah.
like a limp noodle.
like I like that. Like, yeah, and there's my buddy's his son has a one of his best buddies, and I go to the sushi place last night, and he works there, and I'm like, hey man, and he for like a 17-year-old kid, he's got one of those firm handshakes with the firm arm, and I'm like, kids going somewhere for business, man.
Mm-hmm.
It puts it out, and boom, it wasn't this limp wristed like
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I had a shake.
Grab your hand too hard.
I like that handshake, man. I was like, a good handshake.
Or when you go for the strong handshake, but somehow you're off on like timing or like distance or something.
Jackie's
What's
like,
that?
good morning. Jackie's like, good morning. We're out of here, man. CKJ hit me up today, buddy. Finally single. Oh wow! So you're having a big party for that? Navigator, nice, interesting.
Getting the gang together.
More questions than answers from the regular person. It always
Will
does.
lead more question. What will? The handshake?
Anything. Doesn't matter. Any subject will lead to that. How's the Alchemist? Released the RLUSD. Instantly makes XRP a gas token.
Interesting. Does it? It's interesting.
Is it a gas token?
What I do know is that it won't be backed by gold.
Well, you got to listen to the crypto influencers, the experts, Jeff, if you want to know the answer to that, because I don't think you're paying attention. It's going to be the world reserve currency. It's going to be bought back at $4 trillion each XRP, because there's enough money in the world to cover all that. That's for sure, right?
Yeah.
You have one other thing that I would like to play here if I can.
I gotta look this up real quick.
My brother sent me this. XRP price. World Bank set price between $7,000 and $70,000. This is another one. He always sends me these because he knows I'm going to be like, I'm going to say something very funny about it. But I want to show us one more clip. Just because we like to play a funny one at the end, something we like to do.
This one is important. Oh, you know what's critical before we kind of move on, just real fast. Before we call it a day and we move on, what's critical is that El Salvador with Bukele just discovered up to $3 trillion in unmined gold. And they're moving very quickly to repealing the mining ban regulation so miners can start mining it and pulling that money out of the ground for El Salvador. They found gallium, tantalum, tin, and many other minerals that are needed for a fourth and fifth industrial revolution. Of course, the environmental lunatics are attacking Bukele, saying he shouldn't do it to protect the lakes and rivers from contamination, but they don't realize the only way to fix the water problem is with money that gold will bring. Additionally, the amount of jobs and economic growth this will bring to El Salvador will be magnificent. The discovery is a gift from God for the country's faith and perseverance under demonic gangs.
I've said this time and time again. I always wondered in my lifetime, would we see a dictator with good intentions? And we got one. We got our Bukele, man. We got him. He's there.
Yeah.
Let's watch this clip, Jeff. Who is excited for Christmas? Okay. Who's excited for Christmas? Here we go.
We're Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
Yes.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Oh my God.
Oh no. No.
That's too much.
No.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks. Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Oh God. Come on.
Sorry, man. I had to. Had to get out of here on a funny note. Got to get here on a funny note.
Should have only bought 10 XRP since there's going to be a buyback. Right. Hell yeah. You don't need much. All right. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be giving out some more badass Yetis, and we'll be talking about Brad Garland House on the 60 Minutos.
Minutos. Yes. Let's do it. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's get out of here. We'll see you. And also, we'll be on CKJ Live on Monday night at 8 p.m. See you on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Ow. See you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.